It is glaring. When you go to these communities, the effect of galamsey is you cannot miss them. Especially when you talk about the environmental aspect, the degradation of land and our forest. When you go there, you see a huge tract of land that has been degraded by these miners. They just go there, dig their holes, take the ores, and once they get their gold, they just leave. You see, you go to some old kingdoms, you see that their palaces, the domes are built with gold. But here in Africa, in Ghana, there is no city, there's no palace, there's no building of substance that you can point that, oh, this is what was built by our forefathers during the gold boom or whatever.
A symbol of unity, a symbol of spirit. Gold is here, gold is where you find it. The only one with the decency to bear the weight, the decency to bear the weight. Of proverbs of old, of stories untold, the mystery is gold. A symbol of unity, a symbol of spirit. Gold is here, gold is where you find it. The weight of produce are born in gold in the marketplace where they're sold. A symbol of unity, a symbol of spirit. Gold is here, gold is where you find it.
Galamsey, gather them, wash them, and sell them using the simplest of tools. Artisanal gold mining, or galamsey as it is known in Ghana, has always been our ancestral way of mining. It was handed down to us through centuries of indigenous mining initiative until the colonial government declared our mining method illegal and halted any chance we had of perfecting it.
There is a new African in the world.
Even though Ghana has long since been freed, that declaration still remains in our statute books and in our collective conscience. Ghana has produced and exported gold for centuries. In pre-colonial times, present-day Ghana was one source of gold that reached Europe via trans-Saharan trade routes. In the 15th century, Portuguese sailors tried to locate and control gold mining from the Gold Coast, but soon turned to more easily obtained slaves to herald the infamy of transatlantic slave trade. In this dramatic film, we take you to the heart of galamsey mining in 3 regions of the famed Gold Coast, now Ghana, and investigate who really are behind this environmental catastrophe in Ghana. We will also explore the lives of indigenous galamsey miners and draw attention to the impact of their activities on themselves, their communities, and the nation as a whole. Today, galamsey miners face huge pressure from the government to bring an end to their activities, whose detrimental effects many believe far outweigh any possible justification. What really pushes them into the belly of the earth? Are the push factors being ignored in favor of populist military-style campaigns? If gold is here, and gold is really here. Buried deep beneath Ghana's jungles are billions of dollars worth of gold that for centuries has arguably benefited mostly multinational gold mining companies and a few Ghanaian elite. For the desperately impoverished mining communities, the wealth they host has neither brought development to them nor employment for their teeming unemployed youth. Every day, They see their natural wealth carted away in big trucks on their neglected, pothole-strewn roads. Today, the country must grapple with the impact of its gold wealth in a global marketplace as massive multinational companies mining the concessions battle a large indigenous unlicensed sector bent on getting their fair share. Galamsey, which is derived from the phrase gather and sell, used to be done in a very simple way. Men, women and children gathered dirt or mud by either using their bare hands, pickaxes or shovels. After that, they would wash the dirt off in streams and collect the tiny gold dust. Ashanti gold seekers are known to have panned and mined gold from the quartz reefs of their lands long before Ashanti Goldfields Corporation was established in 1897. Back then, few gold seekers extracted the metal using mercury. This type of galamsey was laborious and one could operate on a piece of land for very long periods of time. Mining activities could coexist with normal farming activities on the same piece of land, or the land could easily be reclaimed for farming shortly after the mining intervention.
Galamsey, nan me sha se no mutu gold ansana mrofi eba. No mu ba mu pe na mrofu be di o man so pe no. Ana afi ye ne Ghana fo na yetubi na no yetwam. Say ye ne di kwase yetubi. Enti we ya na for galamsey illegal. Land no akase ni na kodi company akase.
Our ancestors have been collecting the ores from riverbeds and processing them since the 4th century. But then when the British came, somewhere around 1935, they brought laws and they said that our way of doing mining was illegal, was bad. You know, if it's not their way, our way is not good.
Ghanaian farmers have mined gold during slow agricultural seasons for centuries. But nowadays, artisanal mining has become a thriving industry.
You go to certain areas where previously, before the onset of mining, people were going gainfully into agriculture. People were planting seeds and some people were rearing sheep and all that. Now, the mining came and they found it more lucrative and then they've abandoned that kind of job.
According to the artisanal mining expert Gavin Hilson of Reading University, artisanal mining accounts for 15% of Ghana's national gold production. But because most artisanal mining operations are not registered with the government, technically speaking, their work is deemed unlawful.
I got a hit and run. So more, you know, what they can declare is say, well, illegal person, and do I'm watching we and a card walk.
It is estimated that artisanal or galamsey mining provides livelihoods for 1 million people in Ghana and an estimated 50 million people around the world, from Brazil through Tanzania to Indonesia. These jobs are especially precious in Ghana's mining communities, where unemployment for 15 to 24-year-olds ranges between 70 and 90% compared to the national average of 30%.
Abana so obra galamsey so Ghana ha enya mo nso na akọ school se me ko school yi na in case of me de me ho ma galamsey ese no na me so mehwe e de ahwe da achem de bi benya bi ahwe me ba ene me yere tin ke stress nka aban no ko be ma na ni aba fom be boy galamsey se Ghana hanom se e bra galamsey de be dikura be den e be se bia wa akọ school akọ degree wa abrochira be tena office e sua wa de ebi so obi so nkosa school no sesi am oska me hwese me nua ebekọ galamsey.
Since The arrival of Chinese, Indians, Americans, and other foreign illegal miners in this sector, the old-school galamsey mining has been overtaken by heavily mechanized galamsey mining. Mechanized galamsey mining involves the use of heavy equipment like bulldozers to clear a large tract of land, followed by excavators to dig up mountains of ore. Although some have set up small mills to process their ore, most of them use the China-made ore grinder, Shangfang.
From a garden, if we that tunnel, I'm a business. Oh, come on, me come for and your man kui. O Tony, your man crying. I must get me a bata. Na me send me ko that tunnel no could be galamsey. You call and so you know me a champion. I can't be answering for so ya peace, Cacoto, my family. You said, man, my ya, they bomb branca cracker. You see, any bit. Continue and say, I am. Now, I then I'm with you and a tea way, then it's when a excavator of a boy or barn or charge you, Lord in a video.
There are 3 types of galamsey mining. There are those who scrape gold ore from the surface of the land using simple tools like pickaxes and shovels. There are also those who dig deep into the belly of the earth to chisel gold ore from gold-bearing rocks.
And I have 10 years. Yen says you, say, so maybe a bunch of phone or have brought in. I didn't know I age 10 years. I ain't say you are. And they say, I'm going to report the bus. So, for say you, I have balance on okay. No one be no difference.
The third group of galamsey miners are the alluvial miners. The alluvial mining mostly occurs in the Ankobra, Ofin, Pra, and Tano basins.
If I'm a Brentiamwa, me feel Buabenso. First, I shall send you often a come near Kumpa, it me numbi. A corny and Finso and quiet me Sabino.
Often done na. I say, oh, my galamsey for a penny na Navatana, Kakitweb.
Then I don't know when him says, go with you more. So, Manco. Oh, my own no crime, Bensiono. Oh, my own Chedia. Almost I was in an animal poem to so the uncle. Says, I just say, Yate. Yes, say, soon in a Mumpany for no, and as a matumo. Says, I know Beja, a Hanomo Atuhama, Memano more, Mamua no more, says India. And there's some.
These rivers are already highly polluted. The rivers have abnormally high concentration of mercury and other mining-related toxins.
In so yamono, if you do masse, na do masse for no, mine se for no BGL for no moti as I say, chemical war in sonum. And to matter polytank I say clonuma, yamo so direct, and te we no a connected about mine sinumo. It had the call and club is about 8 miles or 10 miles away. And if it how many are they call chemical and so a bomudada. So we were hana to me who should name Munamuka to me. We are. It's a better me small scale mine in Oahu. I also a better me. Baby Kakadi, I share ye muna ye mammo. A family Robert. Now, Master for the Bayan. Almost the chemicals who is written a winner no Dinianum. But grab fire and says you win no. Oma won't crash no. Omina says you win. Almost say chemicals boom to me. Number 2 Buramai. The brows on between and what and make us a branawe crying this year light into the panel massa on this side.
Poison about Mammon said
BGF4 good stuff.
The activities of these alluvial miners only worsen the already poisonous condition of these once revered Ghanaian rivers. Even if all forms of mining along these river basins were to stop today, they might have changed beyond any possibility of recovery.
Stands now, not even one permit has been given to anybody to mine in our river bodies. Not even one. So, what basis are they doing the mining?
So far, The Galamsey task force is believed to have deported around 5,000 foreign illegal miners, mainly Chinese, since May 2013. Over 1,000 excavators and 200 heavy-duty pickup trucks have also been seized.
Because we have provided a framework for Ghanaians to be engaged in small-scale mining, we will definitely meet anybody who is engaged in illegal small-scale mining boots for boots, because it is totally unacceptable.
The task force is believed to have successfully prosecuted dozens of Ghanaian illegal miners, some receiving prison sentences of up to 6 months.
That though the interministerial task force is working, sometimes there are excesses, and you find out that in some areas they go and they seize petty things like gallons of fuel, food. They maltreat and brutalize the people in that area.
The task force will soon focus on a massive reclamation exercise by covering up the trenches, detoxifying the land and water bodies.
If the exercise should be strengthened and they should go according to their mandate, why they are there. And so you go to a particular area, you make sure that I came here to stop you, and that is what I'm doing. These are the terms of reference I'm working with, and I'm going to stick by that, no compromise. And they are also to make sure that once they seize the equipment, the bulldozers, the excavators and all that, they make them, they can even force them to sit within these machines and use it to cover the pits they've created.
Despite the supposed illegality of Galamsey mining, Galamsey gold is actually bought by a government-run entity called Precious Minerals Marketing Corporation, which converts these crude nuggets to jewelry and refined gold for export. Generally, the indigenous-style Galamsey operators can dig only to a limited depth, far shallower and smaller than excavator-style illegal mining. The number of Galamsey miners in Ghana is believed to be between 20,000 to 50,000. They mostly operate in the area known as the middle belt of the country, where there are substantial reserves of gold deposits, usually within the environs of larger mining companies. Galamsey miners have high rates of accidents and are exposed to mercury poisoning from their crude processing methods. Many women are also among the workers, acting mostly as porters and washers for the miners.
I'm Conscientize. I Galamsey. Yeah, bed 2 years and one of me had to show me more flesh school.
Me wama. Ba ko we attend college. Or perversity akosika sam. Ba ko so pieces, or so kumase. Or so esika sam. Ti am sorry aja me ha me ho sa. Marasa na manya bia ma na wo mu kumase. Na me so manya bi dia to. Sa obi adi. Nuko say Sunday so manya bi di kwa asore. Ko yi nyame aye. My gram say I bear in Fieduni. Me qua na manya bi ama me ma atwaduane adi na omo nso adi bi akọ school. Oh, adwuma de ya che. Ya che. Eno a me ni fredi a. Me kwa bo bra na ja. Bra na anya ye mba eno na me yedidie. Me dia se me 3 wounds. Ah me kill. Mede Anastasia ko siyo branya. Kasam tinko ni ma provision ni ma na manya bi so ahe. Me ba no school no bese wo kro no. Say na bibia is kasam. Moi na ga ti ana ngatesia. Ena dia modi ejame. Akatwa modi ejame.
Children do work at Galamsey mine sites. Depending on the child's physical strength, he or she can be engaged in almost every task performed at a mine site. However, the majority of them work as porters or washers. Children lifting and carrying heavy ore can suffer serious skeletal deformation.
You find children as young as 10, some even 8-year-olds doing galamsey, and they will tell you their story. And usually it got to do with financial. There are no financial support for them. And you know, Ghana here, we don't have social support system. So if your family cannot provide for you, it means you, the child, has to find a way of supporting yourself. And it happens that in their communities, the only way they can do this is by going to mine site to work in the pits.
The child miners give varying reasons for skipping school for the mines.
Pacho, within the man of Richard, go school Masuda Atano, DAJHS. Pacho, me dina Form 1. I'm starting to go to Hodgman's number 10 years. Say, me na 14 years.
Vladimir Jones, class 5. Obian over Mamma Junior and say, Diam Echo Holokodua. Na ebu agene me hono menna na me dia best school
my mele because see primary school me 13 years me ko bia me ko ba me nya point 1 70 e bia no me nya
Ntapia kodu me free man so to dunsia me dina class me pa cho de ntia mama ni nko me school no say me mama ne me papa wo munya ebi mfa mo me mpo mama ne papa wo mabọ mle wa ne ngokra wo maye mle ana me hwe me ho me ko galamsi pa me ko do ana me de ko galamsi bu wa menya pontuan 70 wonya kese na 100 nti me normal me hia me ni be ko musiku ho ene sebia bus bag mpaboa na de be me ni agi we school me so ne computer laptop we munyina ka ho ani madidiem e munyina ka ho na be me
mi fremanzi to dokro mi digara wa so e be to me be me kona mi nya point 2.1 point 2 no si ayi 140 no menya na ayi 100 ma me so hwe mi na papa na hwe mi e papa so agya man e se mi de nse ma ni school no se me ba me scan to dwane ni me se ni bus ntinga mbese me bus anga menya pen aninga me ska ni ka create anga be be school oni nse ma ni
o hawo wo school no se e kasi en fa bibi mla na se obu okola na o ma me ni bi nso mba for so sa na ebu a esi ntua PTA juice metua for city nti me kwa akase city si ametia ebiem so ne se esi ye twa Friday we and nso metua 10 city aka 5 cities
to school say nkwala no tua je say feeding program no nko ape enam say enye government one millennium for sponsor ye anything no ono na so omo ba omo tua 30 pesos enti no and apart from enfa levi bia nto nkwala no bia so
mata because school 20 o'clock I see primary midna yes yan dey on me ase en see o tan ase enkonya ko go slow eri aba ntimi nsia dey ade e trust this yan dey na say anesa ntimi nsia dey ntimi emenye pen first me mo aga na me se pa mo chema me boy ka.
The mining industry in Ghana accounts for 5% of the country's GDP, and minerals make up 37% of total exports, of which gold contributes over 90% of the total mineral exports. Thus, the main focus of Ghana's mining and minerals development industry is gold. Ghana is Africa's second largest gold producer, producing 80.5 tons in 2008. The country has 23 large-scale mining companies producing gold, diamonds, bauxite and manganese, and there are also over 300 registered small-scale mining groups and 90 mine support service companies. The mining industry of Ghana is expected to generate revenue of $35 billion in 2014.
Yamino Nimo. Yamino Nimo. Yakwaye, Obiani, you are for.
The Environmental Protection Agency EPA is the Ghana government's entity responsible for the formulation of policies on all aspects of the environment, including the prescription of standards and guidelines related to the pollution of air, water and land. They are mandated to control the use of mercury in Ghana, especially in the mining sector. In order to separate the gold from the remaining dirt and other minerals, the miners use mercury to retrieve the gold. They use about half a teaspoon of mercury for a pan of water and ore. Mix the solution with your bare hands until the mercury has attracted the gold particles, creating a gold-mercury amalgam. They then burn the amalgam at a very high temperature to evaporate the mercury and recover the gold. During this process, the miners are directly exposed to mercury by touching it with their bare hands and by inhaling the fumes as the mercury is burned away, both of which place them at very high risk of mercury poisoning. It is worth noting that evaporated mercury can travel long distances through the atmosphere and contaminate the world's fisheries. Inorganic mercury quickly turns into highly toxic methyl mercury when it enters into the aquatic ecosystem and exposes all fish eaters of the world to severe mercury poisoning.
Mercury is a very poisonous chemical. It is not supposed to be handled by your naked hand, but these people use it to extract the gold from the ore. They use no protective gears. They inhale the mercury vapor, which can destroy your central nervous system.
And children handle them. When you go to the milling areas, are children within the mills who have their nose uncovered. And only God knows how many of them have died as a result of this. There is no clear data on these deaths. And if there should be, I think the country will be overwhelmed.
Exposure to mercury can cause severe brain and kidney damage. It has particularly harmful effects on pregnant women, especially the fetus and children.
Tontochrome, for example, they attribute some of this physical impairment to Buruli ulcer. It happened somewhere, I think, in the late 1990s in Ghana. There was an outbreak. But you go there and the situation is still prevalent. We spoke with some of the health officials there, and they spoke about the mining water. And the mining water here means the pollution of mercury in the water.
The idea of my education, actually, so one casano away in Ukrano. Say a piabontia, woman, and my one so crowd area. And I would to us in Gunu consume and Namuka. Somewhat can have crackers and foul one. Odigu, maybe a Naman would dino a barbe piano. And I say, you know, mercury woman, and I say, kakra na etenako enam wadi would namukra na atone da bro akra no wadi wudi na so di mercury was na.
According to the Global Mercury Project, an organization devoted to preventing mercury pollution resulting from artisanal mining, 30 to 40% of man-made mercury pollution in the world is a result of small-scale galamsey-type mining operations. Though it is not advisable to burn mercury in residential areas without using appropriate safety devices like retorts, galamsey miners burn their amalgam in highly populated areas and even in their homes, exposing their entire families to a most harmful chemical ingestion.
There was a child that we met. His father is a gold refiner, and he refines the gold in the house. And you see this child's head is severely impaired. And it's as a result of the mercury exposure. It could have happened when the mom was pregnant and she inhaled the mercury fumes. And if you do that, it destroys, it affects the fetus in the mother's womb. Or even if the child is very young and he or she is exposed to the mercury, whether through the vapor or handling, it also causes some of this physical impairment.
An April 2000 research indicated that fish stocks at Odumase, a town in Western region, were so severely contaminated to the point where they should not be consumed, but the locals relied on the fish for nutrition and income. In Africa, Ghana is the second highest emitter of mercury after Sudan. The country's continued failure to limit and regulate the use of this harmful chemical may soon cause a devastating health and environmental calamity for the entire population.
The basin now, it would be difficult to say that people can go to their farms and confidently fetch water to drink just because they have the feeling that it's highly polluted.
It is not all well-meaning people who see only the negative aspects of Galamsey. Galamsey advocates like Gavin Hilson argue that if artisanal mining projects were legalized, they could qualify for support and funding that might help mitigate the health and safety hazards connected with these operations. But a major problem is that the Ghanaian government has already sold most mineable concessions to large multinational mining corporations. The Minerals Commission, Ghana government's mining regulator, says it has tried to bring Galamsey into mainstream mining by setting aside land for them and making the application process more accessible. So far, these sites have failed to draw the artisanal miners away from their usual operations. Either they aren't aware that the legitimate sites exist or they don't believe there is gold there. Some also argue that the gathering steel miners don't have the patience for the permitting processes associated with legal mining. After all, for Ghanaian artisanal miners, playing by the rules hasn't historically paid off. According to Wilfred Lumbe of the United Nations Economic Commission on Africa, in some African countries, close to 100 years of mineral exploitation has not changed circumstances on the ground. Poverty has increased, the marginalization of the poor communities has increased. Spurred on by quick wages, these artisanal miners in Ghana ignore the physical dangers of their operations and take advantage of an indigenous profitable resource to earn a decent living where large-scale foreign mining firms wouldn't employ them. Illegal or not, this kind of local entrepreneurship built on indigenous initiative, organization and self-sufficiency shows hints of how the continent might be able to buck the trend of resource exploitation. In a region where the profits of rich natural resources have rarely reached local communities, the best route may be the most direct one. Prestia is a town in Ghana's western region and it sits atop land which is rich in gold. It's been a mining town since at least 1878 when the first European company came to town. Ghanaians had been mining gold for centuries before that. The Prestia gold property has now been dished out to the Canadian multinational firm Golden Star Resources, and it is yet to reopen its abandoned underground mine. Though the town has seen gold extraction unabated for over a century, it has no pipe-borne water and the roads are simply impassable.
If you see the water that these people are drinking, do not believe that they are also living in 21st century.
Golden Star, nti nsuo na ankobrafoɔ ɛsa no mo ɔmbɛtwa kwan wɔ so ɛma nsuo ne sɛe ɔmo yɛ sɛ ɔmbɛyɛ pipe ɛrepresi amom ɛna ɔmo yɛ pipe mom nti pipe na asen asɛe bɛɛ 4 years ni because mbɛyɛ assembly ma kwan nsuo na asɛe metu ho ana mo ba bi eduna sɛ company no ɛnya ade nsuo no mbɛyɛ Golden Star aya na nka mpemfo no so akasa akyerɛ mo na bi ɔmo de waste ni gu no ebi say me wo area bi wa from mamuama no bisichim bebi o mu wesi negu no ma pare wesi na ama na ye mo ndi say nsu tope eno so wo hyekọ revenue nda say ka say de ma Galamsey fo no nkwane bebi no nso ya na ha adwen.
Obuasi, a town that has hosted a formal gold mining corporation for over 100 years with nearly 30 million ounces of gold exported, has not seen much development either.
You go to Obuasi and they tell you that they are angry. You see people with skin rashes, and they tell you that we had it from the use of chemicals. The daily blasting, they will show you their buildings, cracks on the buildings and all that. They will show you their farms, that we were working on these farms, they are no more. Now we don't have any job apart from this. They are not employing us. So if we sit and watch our dilapidated buildings, the roads are very bad, we do not have potable drinking water and all that, then it gets us angry. And so we also want to get our share. And so sometimes you see that they get very confrontational.
The Galamsey business comes at a cost, as some operators have to pay the ultimate price for their struggle to earn a living.
At one particular instance, I found that an abandoned pit where people were mining, they tie ropes around the person's waist, and then they lower him gradually into a pit that is several feet deep. Point in time when he reaches where he wants to dig, he jerks the rope, and then they let him go. He starts digging, and about 2 hours after, when they are not hearing from him, they jerk the rope twice, and if he's not responding, it means he's dead. So they lower him back into the pit. These stories are not told by the miners. When they die, they just die.
Miankasa odro akentem tosu mienu. Bedi ade mefanse na otwe miensam ani. Ena asem kese ya atumie nti na mame kura no menso mafede ayesa mani abrepa ye.
On November 12, 2009, a collapse occurred in an illegal privately owned mine in Dompoase in Ashanti region. 18 workers were killed, including 13 women who worked as porters for the miners.
Belief is that when people die, it brings in more gold. Believe that gold is a sort of god, a demigod. And so the more you get blood into the system, you find people secretly going behind to mine.
In April 2013, at least 17 people were killed while mining at a disused gold mine in Ghana's central region near the community of Chichirure.
A mining company has secured the land, they've dug pits, they are supposed to cover the pits as they go on. But they did not cover the pits because they went into an agreement with the local miners that, and so whilst they were digging under the pit, it caved in on them. And the pictures you see are gory. Young men and women lying down dead in their numbers. Those who survived, you could see people who have their backbone broken. You could see people with thigh bones broken.
We just want to eat the were primary honum, 7 coffee small honum. And a teacher need to be said, I done the honum. No, say, yes, or Mamma Galamsey, or Mamma Abu Akum, Ebinum, and Tina Ebisum. And when I miss sorry, say, Miss Mamma, Nimianum, or honing me. Now, Miss Sorry, Jinam with me could be say. A boy a cook of one of them, I cook of food. Now, yes, I then made 2 minutes, Kama or Honum, Aquacoshe. Timidi Milkaku in a Mikudru Honoma, Mrs. Stepping back when I'm home. My Menumaya, yes, and Milano Abu Akata Womuso.
"17 young men of full capacity, strength,
Maya. Omu ahwodin omu wo akukudro omu betumi aye bibi yatumi ahwere wo mo adentra."
They've lost their lives and left families behind.
Mechanized small-scale mining, legal or not, continues to have a huge adverse effect on Ghana's cocoa production. In the gold mining areas, which are incidentally the bedrock of Ghana's cocoa industry, some cocoa farmers have now begun selling their cocoa plantations to, especially, foreign illegal miners who are willing to dole out huge lump sums for their gold-bearing lands. Within days of signing this agreement, the vibrant cocoa trees are cleared off for the excavating works to commence.
You look at cocoa farms that have been destroyed. You speak with the farmers and they tell you that growing cocoa is no longer lucrative. I think it's better selling the cocoa farms off to the illegal miners or these Chinese miners, and they pay huge sums of money. They cut the cocoa down, they dig trenches, they dig pits within the cocoa farms, and go on the ground, you see the extent of devastation.
Entire communities are also at risk considering how close some mine sites are located to their settlements. With the excavated holes becoming breeding grounds of mosquitoes, there is no wonder that there are high incidents of malaria outbreaks in these communities.
The midwife in charge of Tuntukurum Health Center. Galamsey nti amrana nsu we ma ntontomo togum bebre nti ma yenya malaria hapa.
With some of the mine pits closely sited along road networks, there is a huge danger to motorists. In the past, where a simple veering off would have left one with little scratches, now there is a risk of the vehicle plunging into a mining ditch, resulting in a greater degree of injury to the occupants. As children as young as 8 years choose the life of a miner as against education, there is a threat to the communities and the country's future human resource development. But what really pushes people into Galamsey?
AdomiBridge Galamsey na koto Galamsey die ma eni nkrofo ko Galamsey ni se ni eya ho kire e bia ne pa no wi school oni ska odi beto aso nti ese okoye bibi kakra na wonya ska kakra na odi beto aso
yetete bibu school ma na se ska ni beto aduane adi ni nti na ya na me ko Galamsey.
You go to this mine site, their schools are so bad that most of the population don't pass their basic education certificate. And because they don't do that, they can't progress on the educational development. So they all end up in Galamsey pits.
Galamsey is attractive to both the young and old because of the endemic poverty in the areas it is prevalent.
You find that there are no jobs within the mining areas, and that this is the motivating factor that is pushing the youth into the mining, because there are no jobs. If I cannot get a job and I can go into mining and get some few cedis into my pocket within a short time, why not?
Living with no gainful work is difficult for these people, and in order to survive, they turn to the earth, which provides ready source of income. And because many of them lack education, it is easy to get roped into the booming business of artisanal mining due to the fact that there are no jobs that could accommodate their kind. It also goes without saying that the people in these communities are now becoming proactive, vowing to take charge of their resource endowments instead of leaving them to be exploited by foreign multinationals and their educated Ghanaian cohorts.
If you witness the recent clash between police and people of Enyinam, for example, they have been enjoying free power from Anglo Gold Ashanti for some time, and now Anglo Gold says the transformer is weak and cannot provide them with the daily electricity. And they are saying that, well, you have benefited so much from our land, so if you cannot provide us with another transformer and help us get the power for free, then get off our land. So some of these things get people very, very agitated, very, very angry. Social responsibility. Then ask yourself, they pay royalties, the mining firms. So you cannot blame them too much. Where do these royalties go?
Traveling across the Manson land, you see a lot of former mine sites there. But there was no single one of these communities that we can single out as having benefited from gold in their land. You look at their roads, they are so bad, so bad. They don't have drinking water.
Apitikoko, no water. Long time. No water. No water here. No water. Yes.
Is government providing solutions to the people's problems as a result of the mining they witness on a daily basis? So they are living with the mining firms. They get the blasting, the effects of the blasting every day. They get the effects of the cyanide spills and all that. So if we are not seeing any development in our lives, then we will also go into it now. Let us all mine.
What do these people take us for? Do they think like we are just ignorant people, that we don't know the value of gold in our lands? How much does it cost to provide proper boreholes to these people? You know, to provide classrooms for the people, kindergartens or libraries to these communities?
The first one is the preschool canteen, where the teachers, they cook for them. This is our kitchen, our cooking stove, at the same time our dining place. After cooking, the children come here, they wash their hands and then they eat over here. So we are appealing to anyone who can help us or the government to have a second look at our place for us.
Clinic no kitwana. Any idea how I didn't see it? To be a bumper was in Yibia. See, you say a Bible boy, na a brought to Sudan. So, boy, they see Sacramento.
Galamsey sustains the lives of the thousands of people who engage in it.
Me say to no make it workers 150 workers. I Galamsey workers are medium year juma. They try almost 3 weeks. In the 3 weeks, no, one gang get me about 150 million, 100 million. In the 5 from them almost almost a day. Almost.
We have to see a dom where sa mining. Nasa ko ba say ye pomo mu nyina nkwa nse ba having. Ba amobe saba.
Na no ko beti se ha mo no mu kumobi wo kwa so mo jini taxi. E ko hwe mo boy no ye Galamsey ni. Na ma o ko jail wo sa de no.
In most of these rural mining communities, artisanal mining has become their mainstay. Famine, either cash or food crops, no longer attracts the youth. Instead of them trooping to Accra and Kumasi to sell fake phones and other cheap Chinese imports or engage in other illicit activities in the cities, they choose to stay and work in the artisanal mines to build decent livelihoods for themselves and their dependents. Unlike other rural communities that are dying due to the unprecedented drift of the energetic rural youth to urban slums, these neglected rural mining communities are being kept alive by the often demonized Galamsey miners. According to Tony Edu, a Ghanaian policy analyst, artisanal and small-scale gold mining benefits the people, the host communities, and the country far better than the large-scale foreign-controlled mines do.
Large-scale for you to scanning now call AdomiBridge. Now small-scale for you to scan a car or my do one a car. Now large-scale for you do one call AdomiBridge. Go to a common book and Kenya go to cry in a kawa.
Perhaps it's about time Ghana recognized that artisanal and small-scale gold mining has become a legitimate part of our teetering economy. Like most things in life, traditional Galamsey mining also has its negatives. Galamsey leads to land degradation, deforestation, loss of biodiversity, and massive water pollution.
We can also educate the people, the miners. We make them understand that these are your communities. The environment, the rivers in your communities, they are yours. So if you destroy them, then you are the one who is going to suffer. Now, most of you already don't have proper water. In times past, you have been drinking from these rivers. But now, because you have polluted them so much, you can't even touch them. You can't use them for anything other than to wash your gold ore. So let the people own up, let them feel that these resources are theirs. The gold is theirs, the environment is theirs, the rivers in their territories are theirs. And if they understand that, then they will be able to guard them.
But it must be emphasized that indigenous-style Galamsey mining has less sterling effects on the environment due to the simplicity of their operations. It is the unlicensed mechanized mining, where foreign nationals mostly partner with Ghanaians or where wealthy Ghanaians from all fabrics of our society are involved, that inflict the most destructive damage to the environment. Unfortunately, this heavily mechanized illegal mining operation has now been put in the same bracket with the simple indigenous-style Galamsey mining. And in our hurried quest to purge the illegality of unlicensed mechanized mining, we have inadvertently declared war on a mining method that has been part of our shared heritage. Once powerful rivers like Ofin, Pra and Ankobra have now been reduced into mud ferrying streams or strangled to become gutters.
Also, the river bodies, the water bodies in these areas have suffered greatly. When I was a young person growing up, I had this huge reverence for River Ofin. But recently, when I went to this place, Tontokrom, for example, you go there and you see how the miners have pushed River Ofin to the extent that now it has become just a gutter. You can just jump across River Ofin. They have defeated that once powerful river.
Forests are being destroyed at a rate never experienced in our country's history. Farmlands are tipped over. Community drinkable rivers are severely polluted by chemicals like mercury, borax, and other toxins used in their illegitimate mine fields.
As we were flying into Dunkwa, you could see the river body totally polluted. Can you imagine what happens in this community? That water now becomes so an essential commodity.
And yes, small scale mining for one they say in Swono. Now, BJ, no, yeah, maybe almost my connector with distributed water. No, there are two in Swono, or Drabby. And in Sonagasa, I be flow mobile bano. In Sonagasa is already polluted. I won't tell me that day. And to me, no.
Yeah, Kuku. This was a Babu any AG Damono. I say in Swono. A Sutini, a Tini Ecobons Cassium, Ewo Asia Homo. A number a wo in Suimu, Nina Ewu. If you can see and swan a homo, in Sue with Nicobomu, Munamina Ewu. And I'm chemical, not a free Senate Nesso. A day Ebba, Nababon Sununtino. I'm not in Suno, number woman in Ewu. I'm in Suno, yen, Osa. Now, Case, Odi, Gu, be away a nursery be Udi Gusua. In Suno, a shit.
According to the International Labour Organization, prolonged exposure to dust from drilling, handling and crushing the ore may cause lung diseases.
At Konongo, in the Asante Achimnof municipality, you go into the various mills, they grind stones to process the gold. Because they do not want to pollute the environment with dust, fine dust coming from the mills, they have barricaded the whole milling site, and they are inside it. So all the fine dust that should be going out is coming in, and they are inhaling it. People are not wearing masks, and they are inhaling the dust. And very soon we had a disease coming out of the inhalation of dust over a period. It's called silicosis. It affects the lungs. And so it hardens the lungs, it creates lumps within the lungs. And you see these people who have silicosis as a result of long inhalation of dust. And you see that they look like corpses already, and they are dying. The last count I did, 40 people had died. But yet still, people sit behind the grinding mills, and they still grind the stones as a form of livelihood.
Frequent Galamsey pit collapses have also created a near-orphan epidemic in some of these mining villages. Sometimes the two parents working in the mine die when the pit caves in on them, leaving their children orphaned.
Me do kwa mbusampo ayenka bibia mpo nkyere me akiri ansa me tese yesa me bane ne masene die wo mu nyina ya ansore abna mantebia wo so de kwa me apia ye ku adwuma wo ye no na ho kyira ba no se kwa kwa ye ze akala na ye nye bidia to ebia ni wo de ko wura mu be na wo twe na na. That's a municipal. As a museum, so my order there. And I want you to be blame. Did it? I draw booty. But she if you are more afro. If you boko bonduri. Never snarl. Never just say. Never kakala. Dear Busia, no. Uncle school. Kobasa me papa nipi. Mammy nipi. Omo de be the mina me pay. Ma kobi. Ntina me se me boa me ma mo na de ahwe nkola na omo kono. De sole adwuma bia ni hanam. Le galaba kakra na se ye de hu jim kakra. De yakwana ngakala. Na omo ma akwan na me nua be ma ba ko bai. Na skani wa yo de be ma na akọ.
na se ne won kwobua na nya kakram mboa no mfa nko na ka ye ho na ye nyina ye koi ene me sister ba ko ye nyina ye wo na mara anaja e se hunhun bi na be kasa kire ye na me de me pie ti me pie na me da me ho se ye se me ba na de ni James ti me tiem se bo ma o mu die se mu die mi Canada ne wo ne toy te toy ya na gu o mo so me twa ma ni me hu obia me hu me bla hu me ma me na me die mi ka ko fle me papa so ba e wo no so atomu
sim ka ke pia fun fancy
enam say ye ni binti no ye ko skuma e beti mama black nyankofo be kwa akoto edwan di enam say me ni binti na me ti odin metimi asore anopa me ko school me free school aba ebe no miensa na me nyi di be nyimbre no enam say odonfo bi humobro ni bi no hu ye mobo no amomla me meje mo kakala nko nwandi meti akra me sora no pa me ni di enam say me ni binti tizesi ametie mini ma me mini papa mini ba pin bi ameka se me ko no hono ma akwa hia mo afiro hono.
The pain is a double pain.
O Yahweh akoye impremienu Yahweh yedi.
A pain to us because that activity ought not to have happened. Those people ought not to have lost their lives.
Bibia e wo bia no obetinka.
Your loss is our loss. Your pain is our pain.
Child orphans in these areas are most likely to get involved in mining.
Asemi bayi. Ye bebre kan say ye memenda na kwasi ada. Say memenda na kwasi ada. Anka su nkola nyina. Because omukobi. Omo hadi adanse ye. Mi ami tumi ko. E ko pamo omo e mo ba. Me kan tenten eya na ekom kan nti me stress my school feeding program ni bi ewa.
The invasion of foreign miners to rape the resources of these mining communities poses a severe security challenge and threatens the continued existence of these rural communities.
Akwan ni hose mumma Chinese for ambra mbakaya ho small scale man no economy.
And as a country, it presents a diplomatic nightmare for our government.
Actually, say omu yesa adwuma no a omu say yensuo omu say yan asase say omu say nsuo no wie a ana asase no wie a omu de omu kente akọ China eja asase no ene nsuo no emaye.
It is quite ironic that Chinese miners come here to engage in activities that would normally attract severe prison terms in their home country. Sometimes the glaring destruction of arable land and drainage system results in clashes between the foreign illegal miners and the community youth who team up to stop the reckless destruction of the ancestral lands.
Chana for be back Krumianum. Krumian Penifona, Momo Quine, and Momo Bar. Now, baby, we have bibli, no muya juma. To Amana, near so I hanging now, almost say Nina. I believe you're coming now, Hena, I'll walk Krumia, and then penny for a treasure. Say, Krumian Penny, Krumian Nantia, and Cochana for no one, Omunko from Mum Leffy. A channel for no euro radem and on to treat too. And almost that year, a 2 to a 2 no, a 20 become sir.
From Kofi be free manson abodom. Channel for one year, Juma Yawadano. And no hin in a car say Uncle for Mumla. Near poison near Dawson. Omunim see baby awo no mo dani tu nugu yeso.
Operation Calm Life was supposed to purge the foreign illegal miners. But you go to these communities and you still see they are still there. And according to our law, yes, foreigners are not allowed to be involved in small-scale mining. For them, they come and they don't even go for license because the law will not even allow them to get the license. So they just attach themselves to some Ghanaians and they go into Galamsey.
Some of them are still in the system anyway, illegally, and they are being harbored by our own people. Some of these people are even MPs, some are presiding officers in the assemblies, some are assembly members, some are even teachers.
And the Anya Ghana for one, you hold your own buy, and now I know more into all licenses. It sounds when you sika na onya onuni fidi nitino, no than Hokobo Chada for.
How can we combat the urgent challenges posed by Galamsey operations, especially the unregistered mechanized mining, and encourage responsible artisanal and small-scale mining for a sustainable grassroots development?
Ghana may idea gold and an army of Hojumana Abedrunde. Idea on an army of Bians, Abamojanu. There was a Juma who cried, dear or memo. Omojo Kampa Pebet, I'm a gold to small-scale mining. When you have a better Magana fooling in a Snans, I say, I could do last scale for me, Brie Hono. You have not a tissue. Not baby, last scale for no more mine, no moon, prospecting license. Oh, my just has now boss me Brie. Oh, my illegal caucus will be. Oh, my jet, we call you ready to. The years was a renewing license. What is so feeling quite was here? You will soon be the Aluvia be a woman to Salubia wanted to know. Last company, no moon yet, no word. No one for the channel for one who come to 2 Basabasadiam Rebu. But it is the same. It made transit. Chamber of small scale man, as a chamber of large scale, chamber of small scale, as a chamber. We drank a sea, we drank a train, never to a Shibubaku, then training about woman to Shibubaku, and the name to traffic. There was any minianum Ketwa. Ye Boamo, be a hay.
Militarization will not solve Galamsey menace. It is only going to harden them. You push them against the wall, there is going to be a day that they are going to fight back. They are going to turn these Galamsey areas into the Niger Delta.
As mining of any kind booms in Ghana, it is the environment, our health, and our social cohesion that suffer. Perhaps we should look at accelerated rural development, especially in these desperately impoverished mining areas. If there are cleaner, safer and healthier jobs to absorb the teeming unemployed youth, majority of them would not choose Galamsey. The mine at Obuasi, for example, has been in continual production for over 100 years, and the remaining probable reserves are estimated to be around 20 million ounces. If 1 million ounces are produced per year, it means by 2035, the Obuasi mine would have been fully mined. What would be the legacy for 140 years of continuous gold production?
You look at the rivers, River Pra, for example, and other rivers and streams, and how murky they've become with mud and all that. And you see the deaths that do occur on a daily basis, the ones that have not been reported, the bodies that you see, you witness with your own eyes. And then you see the kind of diseases that people have had as a result of mining, silicosis, skin rashes, and all, even amputations as a result of mine collapse and injuries in the mines. Then it tells you that something should be done. This land is really sick when it comes to taking care of its resources and what goes on within it.
If gold is here, then sustainable solutions must be found quickly to halt the looming environmental and social Armageddon.
If you really are serious about tackling this issue, the first thing we got to do is to tackle it from the source. And that is ending poverty in the rural communities, especially in the mining communities. Look at the deprivation there. There are no social development there. There are no jobs there. So if you really want to solve that problem, we get to solve poverty, arrest poverty, and we might be able to arrest Galamsey.
Hear the voice of the warrior king, the voice that quakes the Mediterranean. and echoes through the libraries of Timbuktu. And the dusty caravan arrives, the pinnacle of Mansa Musa's empire, the constructive movement behind the Sikedra of Osei Tutu. Gold is here